Hey, you like cars? Yo, I know. It's been a minute. It's been a while. It shouldn't have been this long. I'll say that. It shouldn't have been this long, but I'm back. Okay. CarQuicks, just jumping straight to it. Episode 52. Yes, that's a good sound. When you hear that sound, well, I mean, you can hear that sound with many directors, but when you hear that sound on this podcast, it's go time. So we're driving in. Now, how y'all doing? How's your family, your friends, loved ones, kids, significant others? How's the life treating you? Have you been out there? I've been doing good. I've been busy, had family visiting, parts on the car, just hanging out with the family, being lazy. Sometimes you just need to be lazy, honestly. You don't have to just kill yourself every single moment of the day in order to feel like you have accomplished something. Some days you just need to just not do anything. But we're here to talk about some car news. It actually hasn't been that crazy since I haven't put one up in about a week or so. But like I said, I had family out here. I was busy. I was traveling. I did the traveling podcast again. But I'm here now. So let's just get to the main topic of information. And we're going to sprinkle some little things in there and then some COROLLA updates. But the main thing is the Toyota 4Runner. I was literally just about to say Tacoma, but it's the 4Runner. It's been 15 plus years of the same, since 2009, basically. We've been looking at the same 4Runner, essentially. They've changed up the front end. They've kind of updated the headlights, but the core of that vehicle has not changed since 2009. It's 2024. Do the math. It's been a minute since we have had anything substantial changed. So, listen, check the screen, check the photos online. The 2025 Toyota Tundra. Yo, when I say I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's going on. The Toyota 4Runner. This is why, let me just say something. These trucks all look very close, right? And that's why in my head, I'm thinking of the Land Cruiser, I'm thinking of the Tacoma, I'm thinking of the Tundra, I'm thinking of the 4Runner. I'm thinking about all these vehicles and all these trucks because they have a lot of similarities in how they look. But we're here about the 4Runner. So the 4Runner, let's cut to the chase. What's in the engines, right? That's kind of one of the big things that the diehards of the 4Runner talk about because, see, they've been rocking a V6 for eons, right? Now, the good thing about the V6 is that it's proven itself. We're talking 15 plus years of people driving across the globe, overlanding, camping, commuting, back and forth across the coast, and it's held them down. Okay, easy to repair. Parts are easy. So we already know that Toyota is putting hybrid powertrains in almost everything they have. Now, some people think this is a step in the wrong direction because it's more complicated, it's more technology, it's more things that cost more money to fix. I differ in that opinion because they've been making a Prius for equal amount of time and they have proven that their hybrid powertrains can last for the test of time. There's Priuses out there with 500,000 miles going strong. Taxi cabs, Uber, Lyft, they're being used in scenarios where they're out and about every single day, all day. So if there is a concern about the hybrid powertrain and how long it can last, I think we've gotten that answer. But change is not easy, especially when you have such a strong base of people who have kept a certain vehicle essentially relevant. Like, nobody questions the 4Runner in its ability to be an overlanding, off-roading, everyday reliable SUV for the family, for yourself, for people that like outdoor sports and adventure. It's proven that. It's not the top best in, let's say, comfort. It never was the top best in, let's say, fuel economy. It wasn't trying to have the most technology inside. It was basic by today's standards, but basic is good sometimes by today's standards, right? There's so much technology in cars that sometimes just keeping it bare bones is what we want. We want it to just last long, get me here, get me there, and keep running. So for this generation, we're getting rid of the V6. It's gone, okay? Just listen, moment of silence. Let it, rest on your mind. It's over, right? If you want a V6 4Runner, you better go grab one now Because I'm pretty sure the old ones might go up in price, considering that some people just don't like change and they really just want to stay true to what they know. So what's coming in the new ones, right? If you have a SR5 or TRD Sport, TRD Off-Road, a Limited, they come with a 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder, making 278 horsepower, 317 foot-pounds of torque. Now here, the torque is what you should be thinking about, because the previous V6 only made 270. So we got about 47, 50 more foot-pounds of torque, which is a good thing. And we have more horsepower, only 8 more horsepower, but we're not dropping in performance, basically. We might also be gaining some, maybe, in the fuel economy, depending on how this motor is running. It may only take premium, and then you got a whole nother cost. Okay, so, I mean, the regular people might be like, yo, I used to be doing 87, now I got to do 91 or 93. I ain't feeling it. However, if you put a 1.87 kilowatt hour battery with an electric motor on the same powertrain, which is their iForce, I believe it's what the name they're going to call this, it comes up to 326 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. That is massive. That's huge. Now, where do you see that powertrain? You're probably only going to see in the Trail Hunter, the TRD Pro, and the Platinum trims. Oh, also the TRD Off-Road and the Limited are optional. That's a beast of torque. That's a beast of an engine. But instead of it being just a turbo 4-cylinder, which it can be very reliable in its own route, in its own way, there are plenty of vehicles that have a turbo 4-cylinder that are more than reliable. So there's no need for us to harp on that idea and think that it can't last the test of time. The hybrid system is where most people are going to feel like, oh, I no longer can really rely on the truck. I no longer can maintain certain aspects of the truck. I can't do it myself. I have to rely on the dealership. I can't be out in the middle of the Serengeti. I can't be out at Big Bend or out in Lake Tahoe or somewhere and something goes wrong. I can't just run up to the local, mechanic shop and say, listen, I just need X, Y, and Z. Because hybrid powertrains do complicate certain things when it comes to how they are fitted in the electrical system and things like that. So I understand that. That's just really where the future is. What we think is new now, come the future, will be regular. You'll be able to do the same exact thing. Ride up onto some random mechanic spot and they'll be like, yeah, we deal with hybrids. I mean, it just is what it is. Now, as far as the trim levels go, every single motor comes with an 8-speed automatic. There is rumors, or there are people petitioning Toyota to release the same 6-speed manual that they put on the new Tacoma in the 4Runner, which I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, that's just money, honestly. The people that want that are going to come and buy it. You're going to get the special edition ones. Let them order it. I know Toyota doesn't really do ordering in that sense, but if there's one thing to allow to happen, let people order a manual in this. You're going to sell them anyways, regardless. Each trim level is available in 2-wheel drive, part-time or 4-wheel drive, full-time 4-wheel drive, and it all depends on the trim. 2-wheel drive models come with an automatic limited slip. 4-wheel drive models add that plus a 2-speed transfer case. If you go all the way up to the full-time ones, you'll have an optional locking center differential, and you have towing up to 6,000 pounds. Now, towing isn't like the 4Runner's biggest thing. But if you're, pulling a trailer, you got up to 6,000 pounds. It doesn't matter on the engine, though, which is interesting. I would think that the hybrid one with the more torque would allow you to at least maybe push it to 8,000 or so because of how much more torque it has. But it's the same across the board. Now, let's get to the trims, though, because there is a particular trim that I want to focus on, because all the other trims on the 4Runner are going to be what you expect. If you get the SR5, you get the standard features in it. You get things like Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. You get an 8-inch display. Optional is going to be a 14-inch screen on the dash. Again, TV's on the dash. You got an optional 12.3-inch digital cluster for the driver. Standard is a 7-inch. So the trim models are always going to have like the ability to add the tech pack or the comfort pack or the convenience pack, and you'll be able to add those things to it if you want, or if you just want it bare bones SR5, which bare bones in 2024 for a 2025 model, bare bones is not like we're thinking in our head. I think bare bones, my brain goes to old school roll down windows, when really bare bones is luxurious, by the standards of, yesteryear. Now, the trim I'm speaking about is called the Trail Hunter, and they didn't even show the TRD Pro one, which I know was somewhere in the, back channels is coming. But the Trail Hunter one is clearly aimed at overlanders, adventurous people, campers, hikers, people that are in the mountains, people that are at the beaches, people that are doing road trips. Because one, it has 9.2 inches of ground clearance. That is more than the Land Cruiser. I think the Land Cruiser had about 8. It comes with 33-inch Toyo open country all-terrains, Old Man Emu 2.5-inch shocks, which are rated to handle more capacity. They're not like the Fox shocks and the Pro models that are more like Desert Runner shocks. These can handle more weight, especially if you're loading up the top of the tent or anything like that. Standard ARB roof rack, snorkel case, for getting through the water at, up to the grill and higher. It has rigid fog lights. It has a 2400 watt electrical system for the outlets in the rear. Give you an example, the Toyota Sienna with its hybrid powertrain has a 1500 watt one. 2400 allows you to power a slew of things. I do wonder how much battery you do get to do something like that. If you're camping, like, can I run it off the truck for how much before the engine kicks on? Or how much time do I have just off the battery itself? You even have more accessories available. Like, you can add a lot more. They didn't go through the full list, but if it's coming packed with Old Man Emu shocks, which is a very well-known aftermarket company, ARB roof racks, I mean, you can probably stack a Trail Hunter as far as you want, and we end up with $100,000 4Runners, which is crazy, which is wild. But considering that Toyota's trying to pack in what you would normally do on the aftermarket into one solid car note, I am positive that you can divvy up and get all these, not divvy up, you can get all these accessories onto the truck and jack the price up. There is a new trim, and that is Platinum. Platinum is what you think it is. It's made for comfort, livability, not rock crawling. They're not trying to do that. And the interior is what I spoke about previously when I was talking about the trim levels. It's standard across, right? The 3.0, the touchscreens, digital displays, 8-inch, 7 inches is standard. You're moving all the way up to a 14-inch one to a 12-inch one, like I said. And so really, it's just going to be dependent on whatever you decide to have. And they haven't talked about the price, though. I'm going to speculate that these are going to start off in the high 30s or low 40s. And for certain, a Trail Hunter is clearly a $50,000 to $60,000. It's probably a $60,000 4Runner. And a Pro is going to be right there with it, if not even more. And best believe that these Toyota dealerships are gearing up for another round of how much markup can we charge. Okay? Prepare yourself. There's no way that we're getting a brand new 4Runner and the games that are going to be played at these dealerships won't be top level. You got to find the no markup Toyota dealerships. If you wanted a 4Runner, if you're not on a list right now, if you're listening to this podcast like, yo, I didn't even know one was coming out, call your Toyota dealership now and get on whatever. You're probably number 35 on the list. They're going to sell all of these, right? And like I said, you have all the trims. You have SR5, you have, TRD Off-Road, you have TRD Pro, you have Limited, you have Platinum, you have Trail Hunter. So you have every single trim. The engines kind of keep it simple because unless you're going for that hybrid setup, the engine's going to be the same across every one of them. Same with the transmission. The main difference is going to be what tech do you want inside of it, what features, what conveniences, what trims. That's really going to be the main separation. Other than that, they kind of kept it simple, which that is, I'll give the benefit for Toyotas that, well, they may not have so many examples of options you can do. This isn't paint to sample like Porsche. They at least keep it in a way where you can just kind of simplify your choice and say, okay, it's this, and it's this, right? Nothing extra, nothing confusing. So it's going to sell. It goes on sale in the fall. I'm sure by, let's say, August, September. I don't know when they say fall, but fall can be whatever the fiscal year is for them. It could be September when you start seeing them on the road. I'm sure I'll see 5 of these a day, especially in Texas. Everybody going to buy one of these. So that's a 4Runner. I mean, it is exciting. I do like how this looks a lot. Okay, I think it looks much better than the previous one. I wasn't like a 4Runner diehard. I'm not like, yo, I'll never change. I want it to be the one it is. I don't want to see anything different. I'm very much like, this looks excellent, right? It's still rugged. You see the history. Like if you see it next to the oldest one and the previous one and the third gen, the second and the first gen, you can see the lineage. I mean, obviously all these things have exploded in size, but you can see the lineage of them. Yes, it is rugged, but even in the platinum trim, it is still toned down. So everything doesn't have to look like the Trail Hunter, doesn't have to look like the TRD Pro. You can see that there are trim levels that kind of simplify how it looks. Or do you want it aggressive? Do you want more cladding? Do you want a lifted ride height? So I like the options. So listen, a round of applause for Toyota. They've pretty much, I mean, they're cutting through their entire lineup, updating everything. Don't ask for another 4Runner, though, for the next like 20 years, okay? Don't ask them to update anything because it's not going to go down. Speaking of something, though, switching gears, we did get confirmation of something. Now, it's not like I have the bank account to get one of these, but you never know. My stars might align. Things might start taking off in other facets of my life. So you never know. Okay, you got to manifest these things. The BMW M5 Touring is coming to America. You heard that right. The M5 Touring wagon is coming to the United States. What does it have? What is it going to look like? I don't know. I just know that BMW USA said it is coming. I'm excited. The RS6 Avant has some competition. This is going to be dumb nasty. It's going to be fast. It's probably going to have those competition seats in the rear or in the front. It's just going to look dope, okay? I'm excited for it. Now, if they brought the M3 Touring over here as well, I might really lose it, okay? I might have to start selling some things because that's pretty crazy too. But the M5 one's coming. Stay tuned for that because that'll definitely be on the episode when that drops. Audi also revealed a new S3, a 2025 Audi S3, which is their like sports one, which doesn't compete with the M3 anymore. They used to be like M3, S3, but the M3 has now risen so far up that the RS3 is kind of like its main competition. So the S3 is like a M340i or something of that nature. But looking at the picture you see on the screen, this S3 just seems so regular looking. And maybe I haven't been paying attention to Audi S3s. Obviously, things like BMW's giant grill face and AMG and Mercedes, some people aren't liking what these other companies are doing. This stuff is so in your face and crazy that nothing is understated. The art of an understated sports sedan is kind of lost. So I will give Audi that this looks like something that is, while it's not completely aggressive or overly aggressive, it is still understated. I'm just not a huge fan of it, but it's still a good car. 0 to 60, 4.4 seconds from a 328 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque, turbo 4. I know you see the theme. The turbo 4s are here to stay, okay? Them V6s and twin turbos and all. You got to leave that for the big, ultra luxurious ones, right? The RS3 does have the iconic inline 5, so no knocking that. But turbo 4, top speed 155 miles an hour, multiple driving modes. It has a torque splitter rear diff, which I guess similar to the GR Corolla where you can split the torque specs 70-30, 30-70, 50-50, 60-40. I'm guessing that's what it is. But again, like I said, I know BMW's polarizing, Audi's trying to be understated, but companies like Genesis, to me, are making better looking cars right now. And Audi can do better than this. It doesn't have to be crazy, but they can do better. Now, wrapping this up, this episode is quick. Like I said, news is really about the 4Runner, but I wanted to get to something else. GR Corolla updates. So there has been some big changes, right? I put on the MST performance downpipe. And when I shot the video, the main part of the video that I was wanting to highlight was the fact that I found a way to install this downpipe from on top of the motor. And when I mean on top of the motor, I mean all the videos I had seen talked about lift the car up, drop drive shafts, drop heat shields, drop, mid pipes, all the things in the way that you need to drop that down and then fish out the downpipe from up top and then fish it back in. And then some of them for the MST one can't fit, so they have to cut and trim metal brackets and stuff. A lot of things that I just kept looking at and saying, man, when you look at the top of our engine bay, and I'll show a picture, there's like a piece that's in the very back by the windshield that has the ability to basically open up so much behind the firewall. So I took that piece off. Firewall's wide open. I had access to the downpipe, took that off, put on the new one, and I'm not going to explain everything because I have a whole YouTube video that you can go watch for it. Same name, CarQuicks. If you haven't known, like and subscribe. If you haven't, if this is your first time looking at this video on Spotify or somewhere else, listen to the audio. Listen, there's a video portion of this podcast that you should go look at. Now, put the piece on, went to drive the car. They say 12 to 15 horsepower. It's there. Oh, man, is it there? Especially at the top end, the middle, even at the low end, the throttle response is so much better. It feels like sport mode from when you change it on the car in regular. And then the sport mode is super snappy. I can only imagine when I get to getting the throttle controller from engine, how much better this is going to be. But the car is performing, almost 29,000 miles. I've been in the streets. No issues, no problems. No, I haven't done aesthetics. No, I don't have a set of wheels. No, I haven't done suspension. Okay, I know those three main things are kind of the big thing. But I've been doing the parts and putting things on from MST Performance, and I love it. Now, what is next, right? What's next? MST Performance has another intake coming out, which includes a whole entire enclosed shroud that pulls air in from the front bumper that is going to be coming. That I cannot wait to put that on. I've been asking for this type of intake design. Not that other companies haven't come close, but this particular one kind of fulfills the fantasy into reality. So that part's coming. I'm going to put that on. My friend Chris, he put on some NKRS05 RR wheels that look fantastic. Looking at his car today, I was at Catalina Coffee. I was observing what he had with the spacers and realized I might be going for a different look inspired by him by maybe getting the RPF1 RSs and plus 15 and running a certain stance look that isn't really slammed low, but does look good. It's a working thought, working theory, working idea. But we're going to get to it. And more videos are coming. More things are happening. More car news this week. I do have a topic I do want to talk about on my second podcast. I know I said second podcast. I've done it. I have been doing it. Just haven't been that consistent with the scheduling. A lot of things was going on, but we're gonna button this up. Okay? Trust me. But I do want to talk about a point of an article that I read and also something that Toyota did. See, on their 4Runner, they have a lot of buttons on the dashboard because they were saying they did not want to have stuff just stuck in a menu. Like, I got to change the volume. Let me do this menu, go through this menu, do this voice command, shake my hands in the air like I just don't care. And then maybe I get the car to respond to what I'm asking it to do. They put more physical buttons. And if you've heard my other podcast episodes, you know that I've talked about the fact that we are adding more and more touch capacitive buttons, more touch screens, eliminating buttons. Everything has to be in a menu. And for the fact that they don't want people texting and driving, looking at their phone and talking about all these distractions, I've always argued me tapping the screen and having to do X, Y, and Z to get a simple function is even more distracting. And Toyota mentioned that with the new 4Runner, that they added buttons on purpose. And I read an article saying more manufacturers are doing this, and it kind of speaks to what I'm talking about. So I can dive more into that on the short little episode, and I'll just speak about my opinion on it. And it's kind of funny because I was like, I told y'all it was going to happen. Too many touchscreens, bring back the buttons. It's like nostalgia, right? We get rid of something, then we bring it back, right? Baggy clothes are back now, right? I'm about to get the big white tee. No, I'm not. Anyways, as I always say, it's been great. I love doing this. I'm glad you're here listening to this. I'm sorry it's a short one. I'm going to lengthen this up. Next week it's late. I'm kind of tired. I'm definitely hungry. But in the meantime, in between time, as I always say, do as you wish and do as you may. It's Cameron Biggs, your host. I'm back, and this is CarQuicks. I'll see y'all around. Peace.